Hey Forum, my name is Manny, aka CascadeScents. Welcome to another video, and this time I have my friend Lily back on the channel.
Hi.
Thanks again for doing this.
My pleasure.
Okay, so just so you guys know, what we have up here are some of my favorite fragrances from X amount of brands, but they're kind of like the bridesmaids, never the bride. So essentially what that means is that they're kind of second place in a lot of people's eyes at best, but I still don't think that they should be remotely forgotten. So I guess that's what this video is for. So without further ado, we'll get to the first one. Lily's going to tell me or tell you what she thinks, and then we'll see who stands on top afterwards. So I guess one of these will be the bride. Here we go with the first one. Alrighty.
It's kind of like, it's very spicy. It's definitely natural.
Right, okay.
I like it a lot. I don't know if I want it on my body.
Right.
Maybe in a candle. It smells like pine. It smells a lot like pine. I'm smelling this and I'm actually picturing myself at the cottage, walking down to the lake.
Cool.
So I think that there's pine in this.
Okay.
And it smells good.
Lovely, okay. So with all that being said, what would you rate it out of 10?
So as a fragrance, this is probably like a 6 for me, simply because I find it a little bit too powerful to wear, but I actually really like the smell a lot, but not in the form of a cologne.
Right. Would you like that more on a guy or yourself?
Not for me, more for a man for sure.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Yeah. Okay. The one we're talking about is a collaboration between two brands. People who made it is Comme, Garçons, but they did this with the architectural company from Finland called Artek. And they have this very austere, minimalist Scandinavian approach. So when you said something along the lines of nature and the cottage, that's why I was envisioning myself when I initially smelled this. But it also almost smells a little bit piercing and unfinished to a certain extent. That being said, off my skin, I feel like it's a little bit too much as far as that piercing nature. So it's not also completely for me. But if you know anything about this channel or myself, standard's like my favorite word. And I deadass bought this because of that.
I can vouch for that.
So yeah, Comme des Garçons for the win. I was surprised you'd like this, actually.
Not to wear, but I like the smell a lot.
Right, like you appreciate it.
Like if Yankee Candle sold that, I would snap it up probably.
Oh, okay, cool. All right, on to the next one. There you go.
Okay, I don't dislike it. This kind of smells like your archetypal cologne. Like if you think about classic man, like old school.
Like a Cary Grant type?
Yeah, like old Hollywood. This is what that smells like, I think, but actually it finishes a little bit sweet. This is growing on me, actually, the more I smell it. I like this. I like this a lot, actually.
Whoa, okay, so more so for not yourself, but for a man.
Yeah, I'd be totally happy if my man had that on.
And with that being said, what would you give it out of 10?
I'm gonna say 8.5.
Whoa, okay, alrighty. The one we are talking about is by Chopin, and this one is called Amber Malaki. So amber is a resinous note that comes from a tree, and it's very sweet yet intoxicating. Here it's also backed up with notes like vanilla, but I think it's super lovely. You do too. And it's kind of second place to other fragrances from this line. There's another one called Oud Malaki, which I feel like gets a little bit more traction in the fragrance community, but I don't think you should be sleeping on amber or amber fragrances. And for an entry-level one that smells this high quality, you dig it, so.
Yeah, and the top is making me think of a wristwatch band.
They probably did this on purpose because Chopin, of course, is known for their wristwatches, among other things. So I'm glad you thought of that. Alrighty, okay. All right, so here we go with the next one. All right, there you go.
Okay, so I know that I've used this way of describing things on this channel before, and it gives me right off the top that vibe of the shower gel, the man smell shower gel vibe, which is, again, I think it's a good smell, and it smells really good, but it's different than that. It's different than that. It smells slightly more green, if that makes any sense. Have you said that before? Verdant? Is that a way?
Probably said like maybe coniferous or arboreal or something like that.
Arboreal. It's arboreal. It's not coniferous. It doesn't smell like pine. It doesn't smell like the standard fragrance. This is different. It smells more green. I like this a lot.
Not so much off yourself, but off someone else.
Yeah, on a man. Not for me, but I really like this smell.
Okay, and out of 10?
Probably like a 9.
Whoa!
Like it's more wearable than the Chopin fragrance. So yeah, I just feel like it's more versatile. Like you can, it's less in your face, but it's really enjoyable.
So maybe the Chopin is something a little bit more upscale. This is more of an daily.
Yeah,
Okay, and it was kind of advertised as one of the mainline fragrances of this brand, and the one we're talking about is Hermes. All right, so this is Rocabar, debuted 22 years ago, I believe, and it's based on horse riding, believe it or not. So we're talking leather saddles, we're talking the trees that you're trekking through and whatnot, and it's supposed to be a nature scent for a very nature-y conscious brand that is Hermes. They like to use a lot of earth tones, of course. They like to depict more nature-y themes in their more recent fragrances. That kind of inspiration and whatnot came from stuff like this, and as a result it's kind of forgotten, but I just don't want to forget where that kind of stuff comes from. That's why I own this.
I'm surprised that that's that old. It smells more modern than that, if that makes any sense.
I agree, because there are stuff from this brand and others, of course, that come off as definitely dated. This smells more classic in a way that I'm trying to put it on a pedestal, if that makes any sense. So I'm a big fan of this. I'm glad you are. But wow, 9 out of 10. There it is. Alrighty. So moving on to the next one. There you go.
This is something that I would wear. I feel like it's at least unisex or perhaps pulling a little bit more feminine. And I think I probably also said this on this channel before, but it's reminding me of like a soap that I've smelled before. I know the exact soap, actually. I can put my finger on it. My mom has this soap that she only brings out at Christmas time. It's from Avon, for those of you who know what that is. And it smells like this. And I love that smell because it makes me think of Christmas time. And I like this a lot.
Okay, so would you like this off of your man more or you? I presume you. As
me, yeah. More of a leaning feminine. Couldn't tell you what the notes are in this. Maybe arboreal again, some sort of green, leafy tree. It smells awesome.
Cool. Okay, so out of 10.
Maybe 9 again?
Hey, okay. All right, I can get with that.
Yeah.
All right, so the one we're talking about is actually the priciest scent on this list. This is by Creed. It's called Royal Princess Oud. So you nailed it. It is definitely a feminine scent as far as how it's marketed. The reason I have this fragrance in this video for something that's a little bit more under the radar, again, more of the bridesmaid rather than the bride, is that despite the marketing that went into this scent, I just feel like it was not pretty enough for the women who tend to buy Creed fragrances. So as a result, more women might pursue something like an Aqua Fiorentina or Silver Mountain Water. So this kind of gets shuffled elsewhere. And on top of that, this also has the word oud in it. Oud is a very like mystical, old worldly note from the Middle East that is, of course, a wood, one that could lean smoky among other things. I don't detect that much here. And as a result, I find it more wearable, but a little misleading. But I'm a fan, you're a fan. It's not cheap, but it's quite awesome. So Royal Princess Oud for the win.
I think that bottle is ostentatious.
It's so ostentatious, yeah. All right, so here we go with the next one.
Okay, this is another thing that I find to be quite festive. It has a Christmassy vibe to me. I don't mind it, but I'm almost getting a note at the end that's kind of like chemical-y in a way that I don't like. I can't even describe it, like rubber or... It's
Interesting.
okay. It's okay, yeah.
Okay, so it's definitely not your favorite, but what would you give it out of 10?
It's almost there. Like, it's almost something that I want my man to wear, but there's something amiss, and so for that reason, I'm gonna give it a 5.
Ah, okay. All right. So the one we're talking about is by Bvlgari. This one's Eau Parfumée Eau Noir. So this one is based on black tea, believe it or not.
Okay.
But you get something a little bit different out of the head of this fragrance almost immediately because it also has supporting notes of rose and oud, believe it or not. And we mentioned oud in the last fragrance, which it's definitely not in the Creed, at least from our noses, but it kind of feels like it is here. And when you have the more calming aspect of something like a green black tea and then you have some rose in it, it does kind of hit your nose in a medicinal way. It's not for everyone, and as a result you might conjure up thoughts of something that just feel weird. When you said rubber, I'm like, yeah, I can see that. That's why it might not get as much play in the fragrance community or luxury goods in general. The initial Eau Vert, as well as other offerings from Bvlgari like Aqua, which everyone knows. Yeah, that's probably what most people relegate this for, but I think it's still worth checking out.
Like I said, it's so close to being something I might like a lot, so maybe if I were to smell it on you or somebody else, I might like it more.
Okay, cool. That being said, Bvlgari, there you go. All right, moving on to the next one. There you go.
Okay, I like this. Smells like something I might want to eat. Smells like something that might be baking. So there might be some sort of like vanilla or cinnamon or something on the go. Yeah, I like this a lot. This smells more feminine to me as well.
All that is pretty freaking accurate. It's funny just because when I wear something like that, I think of more sophisticated thoughts. You're more esteemed occasions. That's how I feel about it. Out of 10, what would you give it?
I'm going to say this is an 8.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
All right, so the one we're talking about is by Guerlain. This one's called Angelique Noir. This one is based on the note primarily of Angelica, which gives it a more powdery approach, and it makes it feel like it's popping in your nose to a certain extent. It feels a little bit more effeminate, actually, as a result. Vanilla, of course, is in here. Vanilla is a note that anyone can use, essentially. It's very unisex, but I just think with the more powdery facets here, I think this definitely leans more polarizing because maybe they don't like something that kind of hits their nose in that way, but I do. I guess you do too. All right, so Angelique Noir for the win. All right, last but not least, here we go.
Okay. Ooh. Okay, so I like this. This smells pretty, I'll say, in a good way, in the best way possible, pedestrian. Smells like a very standard men's fragrance, but I do like it. I like it a lot. But it's nothing special either.
Right, but you can definitely envision it on someone you like.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And out of 10?
Like a 7.
Okay, cool. I can deal with that. Okay, so the one we're talking about is by Christian Dior, and it's called Higher Energy. Now, a lot of North Americans might not know of this scent because they might be too young, believe it or not, because back in the day, this was actually dropped worldwide. The thing is, Dior just didn't really have much marketing behind them at the time, and it kind of floundered around here. So it was actually discontinued in certain world markets, including North America, and it's still sold in Europe, believe it or not. As a result, it's going to play second fiddle to a lot of fragrances that you might be already familiar with from this brand. Dior Homme, Sauvage, things like that. Nothing wrong with those fragrances, they're really good, but I definitely came up on cologne, in this era, so I'm very partial to something like this. I think it smells extremely nice as a daily. Does it smell special? No, but it's really charming for me.
Yeah.
On top of that, the fruits here are just incredible. Citrus, bergamot, among other things. I use this for everything. I think it's awesome. But yeah, I'm glad you like it. So there you go. That being said, to end off the video, we have some winners here. So there you go. That is Creed's Royal Princess Oud. We've got Rochabar here. Overall, I think you gave pretty generous scores, which you don't always do. But what do you think of some of these fragrances that are a little bit more forgotten?
I didn't dislike any of them. The ones that got lower scores were around the fact that I'm not smelling them off a person. So I think not that I dislike the fragrances themselves, but that I don't really want them to be on me or someone close to me. But yeah, I mean, every fragrance was good. I like the smells of all of them. If it wasn't so risky to buy, your loved one a fragrance without them saying that they wanted it or, signing off on it beforehand, there's a couple here that I would probably buy for him. And I probably would buy this for myself, I think.
Hey, there you go.
Or ask him for a sampler and just mooch.
Yeah, I guess so. All right, but anything else you'd like to say?
No, smells good. Good picks.
All right, well, thank you. That was so much fun.
Yeah.
I hope you guys enjoyed the show. If you haven't yet, please subscribe if you have yet to. And if you really want to get on these uploads first thing, also hit the notification bell. Give this video a like as well to let me know, let Lily know if you guys enjoyed this, if you want to see her back on the channel. That'd be pretty cool. But until then, I think that about does it.
Yeah.
All right, thanks again. Take care for now. Peace out. Bye. Wear your fragrances.